Let's rise the energy a little bit right now. Hey, I want to introduce it like this. We have two ministers, both very unique in their vision and their style and their personality. Both are beautiful. Both are great people, and I just hope it stays like this forever. Please welcome our minister, Reverend Beverley Strutt. Bring it up. Yes.
Oh my goodness, we do love those hugs, and we have missed them so very much. Yeah, thank you. You know, I just want to say something really quickly. We come together here to bring to all of you and to everybody out in the world a seamless, loving, deep, beautiful, calm service. And sometimes it doesn't always happen that easily. So today, I'm not one for normally bringing any attention to anything that didn't or shouldn't or should be happening. But today, I want to send a special thank you to Adam and to Dennis, because they jumped into action between last night and this morning to really make today happen. Thank you guys so very much. And of course, to the rest of our tech media, you guys rock. Thank you. All right, so let's just take a deep breath. I have a little story to share. Oops. All right. The carpenter I hired to help me restore an old farmhouse had just finished a rough first day on the job. A flat tire made him lose an hour of work, his electric saw quit, and now his ancient pickup truck refused to start. While I drove him home, he sat in stony silence. On arriving, he invited me in to meet his family. As we walked towards the front door, he paused briefly at a small tree, touching the tips of the branches with both hands. When opening the door, he underwent an amazing transformation. His tanned face was wreathed in smiles, and he hugged his two small children and gave his wife a kiss. Afterward, he walked me to the car. We passed the tree, and my curiosity got the better of me. I asked him about what I had seen him do earlier. "Oh, that's my trouble tree," he replied. "I know I can't help having troubles on the job, but one thing's for sure. Troubles don't belong in the house with my wife and my children. So I just hang them on the tree every night when I come home. Then, in the morning, I pick them up again." And he paused. "Funny thing is," he smiled, "when I come out in the morning to pick them up, they ain't nearly as many as I remember hanging up the night before." Wouldn't it be wonderful if we each had our own tree? And I want to share with you one of the things that helps us or supports us with our troubles and how we deal with them is undoubtedly our faith in the divine. Last night, I was invited to a friend's home to go and have a movie night, which was an absolutely delightful evening. The film, however, left much to be desired in its production, in its acting, but the message was impeccable. It leaned into our conviction of the divine. It lent into our faith, and how if we have a wonderful faith and we can lean in, we can do the most amazing things possible. Sure, we had some watermelon margaritas to go along with the evening, so it really made my faith feel strong in that moment. I knew I would reach out to them. I told them there's going to be a shout out this morning, so I hope that they're laughing at home. So this month's topic is our soul's call, or the soul's call. A discovery of our personal power is the soul's call. And I just want to start the service by letting you know that you will hear many of the same phrases, statements, even quotes that you heard from Reverend Kathy last week. The two subjects that we're dealing with are very close related, and they really serve to be heard again. So if you heard something last week, well, hang on a second, that was Reverend Kathy's. Yes, it was, and I'm leaning in even deeper. So last week, Reverend Kathy, she spoke about being pushed by pain. And Michael Beckwith, Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith said, pushed by pain until we are pulled by vision. Change occurs when the pain we are feeling becomes more unbearable than the pain we will feel in the change. Wow, that's a profound statement. And so we understand that we all want to be willing to make the changes. We don't want to feel that pain. But we do know, too, that if we don't step up, if we don't begin the change by ourselves, Spirit will step in. I call it the spiritual 2x4. You don't do it, it's going to knock you upside the head, and we're going to go from there. So that was being pushed by pain. Today, we're talking about leaning into the discomfort. And you know, you would have it any other way but to know that every time I speak, I have to experience what it is I'm speaking about. So last night, after I got home from this wonderful event, and all this morning, I have felt nothing but the ickiness and the this and the ugh, that whole thing that comes with discomfort. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? That is not who I am. But guess what? I'm speaking about it, so I will feel it. So I'm starting with a joke. Being in pain or discomfort can, if you allow it, give you greater understanding. Just like the guy who accidentally squirted ketchup in his eye. It gave him hindsight. Oh, I needed that one from you. Oh, anyway. But here's one of the beautiful quotes that came from last week from Sandy. Through her creative thought with Carly Simon, I haven't got time for the pain. And this is one of our biggest issues, personally, and even as a society. We tend not to go there. Reverend Kathy spoke about the fact that even as science of mind is, it's all good, everything's great, and we kind of have that Pollyanna attitude, which is not the truth at all. We know how to lean in, but sometimes we can do a little bit of a spiritual bypass. So before I knew about science of mind, I used to think of it as a circle. Life is a circle. You got your up times, and you got your down times, and you got your up times, and your down times, and then you got what I do, right through the center. Every single time I was doing that, and I don't think I'm alone. By society, we want to be happy, joyful, everything is great, so we go up, and then as soon as we start seeing that we might be sinking into the yuckiness, we cut straight across and go back up and around. You know what happens when you leave yuckiness unattended? It just gets yuckier and yuckier and yuckier. And eventually it is time that you will be drawn to go down into it. You can ignore it as much as you want. You can deny it, you can override it. But ultimately there will come a time, either through your willingness and choice, or through Spirit's 2x4, it's going to pull you down into the yuckiness. And normally it happens physically. We pay for our unwillingness to go there voluntarily with a physical pain. We feel it, we can get sick. There's a place where dis-ease can come into place. But why do we always want to avoid this yuckiness? Is it just because we're not supposed to feel unhappy? Is it an unwillingness to look at those things that have been in our past that are, you know, if we look away and we don't deal with it, it'll be fine. But that isn't the way it works. We have to look. And even in our what we believe statement, it says, we believe the ultimate goal of life is to be completely free from all discord of any nature. I'm going to say that again. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be complete freedom from all discord of any nature. We believe this. But we don't always take it into account that we have to do it. And this is the second part of that statement. It says, and this goal is sure to be attained by all. So we look at that, we go, woohoo, it's mine to do. I can do this, I will get it. And yes, if you do it, you will. And if you don't, through your passing, through your transition, through your death, you will ultimately get it. But let's do it while we're here. Let's get on with it. Let's look at the yuckiness. Let's move into that place where we can feel the freedom from that, having known that we've passed through it. We spent some time there, and I am not one for pitching a tent, but I would rather pitch a tent for a little while than build a ranch. You build a ranch in that yuckiness, you're done. This is not the message. This is not what we want to do. But let's pitch a tent for a little while. Let's sit there. Let's rest. Let's just succumb to that experience for a little bit. Now, many of us will do it differently. Some of us will dig in as soon as they feel some discomfort down there, and some of us will allow. It's much like you might deal with let's say a boil. Yeah, that's not a very pretty, but it's definitely going to give you the image. Some of us are going to dig in, and we're going to dig, and we're going to dig, and we're going to dig, and we're going to dig until we get right down to that little yuckiness right in the bottom of it, and we're going to clean it out. We're good. Now we'll let the whole thing heal. And others will put a little poultice on top and draw it out and then heal it. It doesn't really matter which way you'd like to do it. Me, however, I don't like to dig. I like to draw it out. And, you know, just very recently, I had a not a very nice experience. I think that I had avoided some yuckiness just through busyness, through having a full calendar, just through pushing hard for the last 8 years, so to speak. Well, my body decided it was time. It was time to sit on the couch. It was time to stop. But the only way it could get me to do this was to make me feel sick. Really sick. Because even when I get sick, man, I'm like, I do my Alka-Seltzer plus cold, boom, 24 hours, I'm up and going. No, this was not going to be the case. And what was with it is that I didn't really understand. I didn't really see it as being in the muck. I just thought I was tired and fatigued, which is fine. In that time, I was allowing stuff to come up. It wasn't pretty. It really wasn't pretty. And it felt yucky. I mean, I had the flu-like symptoms. I had the nausea. I had all that stuff. But it was all designed just to keep me there. And I just said, okay, I guess I'm not well. I will just stay on the couch and watch 40 hours of Madam Secretary. Thank goodness for a television show you can binge in the worst moments of your life. So I obviously wasn't digging, but I was allowing. And what happened was 2 weeks later, I woke up one morning, and guess what? I just wasn't sick anymore. I never had a process of feeling better or better or better. No, I was down and then I was up. And I was like, whew, that was interesting. And in that moment, I realized what had happened because my eyes saw things differently. My mind, my heart was feeling different. Something had shifted in that time. And I had not dug for it, I'd allowed it. Either way works, but this one worked for me. Wow. Man, I was energized. I was ready to take on the world again. And I felt really almost that place of magnificent surrender because I knew it had been spiritually guided. I had realized in retrospect what had happened. Anyway, later that week, I had a session with my prayer partner. I told her about this. She goes, doesn't that remind you of the caterpillar butterfly imagery? I was like, oh my goodness. You know, we use that all the time, right? The caterpillar transforming into the beautiful butterfly. And I had told it and used it so often, but it had always kind of been intellectual. I had felt shifts in the past, but that image had always been a little intellectual until I realized what awful, yucky feeling that caterpillar must feel as it's literally disintegrating into the food for the butterfly. That's exactly how I felt on the couch. That was exactly how I felt. So if you want to see my wings, there they are. It came up and I was like, So now all it took was for them to dry and to be able to fly again. But it changed everything for me. Everything. Now, not everybody's journey can be like mine. Sometimes we can get stuck. That transformation can be a little bit more difficult. The shifting can maybe not be as deep. It can take longer. And then other times, there's just no movement whatsoever. And we do need to move through this. And one of the most wonderful things is Dr. Holmes says this: every problem is primarily mental, and answers to our problems will be found in spiritual realization. And on top of that, he just so happens to have one of the most magnificent tools we get to use. It's called a spiritual mind treatment. A spiritual mind treatment is a tool of prayer, but it is a designed prayer. It is done in a scientific manner that he developed all those many years ago, and it works. And if you can't always get to do it for yourself, you can reach out. There are others around that can stand up and do spiritual mind treatments for you, especially your ministers and especially your practitioners. They are trained to use this tool very, very well. So what we are starting to bring forward again here at the center is our focus onto our spiritual mind treatments. We're bringing our focus back onto that affirmative prayer. And so what we're offering is we're offering you a specific email address. You will have seen it in your bulletin. It's called prayerhawaiicsl@gmail.com. Anytime you find yourself in a position where you're like, or you find yourself in a place where you want to celebrate even more good than you already have, you click that link, it brings up your email, you send your email in, and you will get an automatic response right away, knowing that we have received it and we will be praying for you. Isn't that brilliant? It's that easy to reach out for prayer. You don't even have to pick up the phone any longer, but if you do want to do that, you can do that too. Also, on Sunday mornings, we have our prayer box, our treatment box right over there with all our prayer request forms. Please fill that box. We love praying for you guys. We love it because every prayer, every spiritual mind treatment we speak not only bolsters you, It bolsters us because we pray first for ourselves. So it bolsters us. It bolsters our community. And it just uses that wonderful tool that Dr. Holmes gave us. It's one of the pillars of Science of Mind teaching. So what I'd like us to do today is you received a prayer form and a pen. If you could take that out for us right now, if you could bring it up, open it up, grab your pens. And if you don't have one, please just put your hand up, and I know that Lena Allah will get you one. Thank you very much. And I'll just give you a minute to get them. We've got right in the front here, Lena Allah as well. Thank you. And over here. Beautiful. So we're not going to fill them out just yet. We're going to take a minute. So let's just take a deep breath. And just go within. And allow something to come up for you that you would like us to treat for. It doesn't have to be anything big, or it can be the biggest thing ever. It doesn't have to be a problem. It can just be for more joy and more goodness. And if it is for someone else, please make sure that you remember that we pray for us first, you second, and then the person. Because it is in our clearing and our knowing of this wonderment and goodness of the divine that we can know that as we know for ourselves, we know for everybody. And when you are ready, please fill out your prayer request form. Just slowly begin to bring your attention back into the room. And I invite you at the end of service, as we exit, please go past our treatment box and lay your prayer in it, and you can just drop your pen right next to it as well. And if you have a desire for another prayer, there are more prayer request forms there. Fill out as many as you desire. Thank you. Thank you, Susanna. All right, so before we wrap up this talk, there's one other way that we can lean into our discomfort, and that is in our social and political arena. The global vision for CSL states, we envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. I'm sure that all of us have found ourselves in positions where we are in social situations, where discussions come up, where we feel very uncomfortable. And there's a tendency often to walk away as opposed to lean into the discomfort to know a little more, to find out a little deeper, to really listen to what's going on. We don't want to go there. We don't want to be uncomfortable. And yet we are called to lean into that discomfort, because it is in that place of discomfort where we will find more, where we'll come to a greater understanding of people around us that are unlike us. One of the things that has been up for me is the idea of pronouns. You know, you've heard that people have different pronouns that they want to be known by. And in this day of where we deal with gender fluidity and pronouns that people may not look like, we may see somebody that is a she and a her, and they identify with a he and a him, or a they. What do we want to do? Do we want to lean into that place of discomfort? Do we want to really step up and go, I'm okay with making a mistake. I'm okay with being wrong. And just saying, I'm sorry, and moving on, and let's keep going with the conversation. Every time. Be willing to be vulnerable. Be willing to make that mistake, but be willing to open your heart and your understanding as you lean into all these new discomforts. Because it is there where we support this new emerging global consciousness, where we know and understand the interconnectedness and the unity of all life. And it is up to us to step in, lean into the discomfort, and be willing to maybe feel out of place for a minute, but to honor someone else's idea of who their true self is. So I am going to call you today to challenge you to do exactly that, to lean into the discomfort, to allow what needs to be seen and healed to be seen and healed, whether it's in your own personal life when you dig deep, or whether it is in the social, political arenas that you find yourself. And if you can't do it alone, know that we are here to support you. The spiritual mind treatment with your ministers and your practitioners are here for that. Give it a shot. Try it out. Step a little further. Lean a little deeper. This is what we're called to do. So in closing, from Dr. Ernest Holmes, from his book called Thoughts of Things, as you learn to release all your burdens to the right action of God, you will find that everything falls into its proper place. You let your problems slip away from you, realizing that a power greater than you are and a presence that is within you is ready, willing, and able to guide you in all ways. Then peace, security, and fulfillment come with ease, and there is a sense of joy and accomplishment. And so it is. Let's just anchor this in prayer. So as we lean into this very moment, into this place and this presence and this knowingness that the divine is always saying yes. Yes, my beloveds, yes. Come on, lean into that discomfort. I am here for you. I am here to support and guide you as I support and guide all those around you, knowing that as we let go of these ideas of separation, and we lean into this idea of interconnectedness, that we lean into a healing place, a place where we can heal as an individual, a place where we can heal as a nation and as a world. So I know that as we do, we are blessed, knowing that this is the time, this is the place, and Spirit has said yes. Yes, my beloveds, yes. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Reverend Beverley. Thank you. That was awesome. And even in hindsight, yeah. I want to go behind the scenes for a second here. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been subtle, sometimes not so subtle changes to how we do our services here. Reverend Beverley has been a real energetic force in how this happens every time that we're here. For example, during the conscious giving section, you can't see this, but we're supposed to try to read this. You can donate, or you can log in, you can do it. I don't know, I can't read it and talk at the same time. She has now made a little video to make it all easier for us to understand what we're trying to say. The Center for Spiritual Living can always use financial input and output. In it goes, out it goes. You've made a video for us. Thank you, Reverend Beverley. Here it is. Thank you. Let's top that off with this. Repeat after me, please. Divine love, in and through me, it blesses and multiplies. All that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. And so it is. Thank you, Patty. She was right with me on that one. Just a couple comments about the next song.